This is the Go Maluku podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Go Maluku podcast. We have some guests today. Myself, obviously, I'm the guest. And here's the host, Ghazali, and we have a guest who just arrived yesterday, all the way from Wisconsin, right? Ronaldo, and 2 more days to go. Today has been a very, very long day, starting around 8, and now it is 10:35 in the evening. So, lot to process, and a lot of things have moved today, so we'll try to unpack it, but maybe there has to be another debrief after the COP just to kind of take you through the whole process, because it is a process. It started day 1, and now we are day 10. So it has to be seen as a 2-week process, but we'll try to get through what happened today so that you have some ideas about where things stand. So let's start with this morning. Ghazali, take us through your day.
Right, I'll probably have to use your microphone a little bit. So this morning we had a bilateral. We started very early. Usually we have coordination at 9 or Indigenous caucus at 9. But this morning we had a very early bilateral at 8:15. It was a very interesting one. Usually what we try to do is when we go into bilaterals, we cover both Article 6 as well as loss and damage. We brought in Graham, the chair of the Indigenous Caucus, to talk about like the difference between the LSIP and the IIPFCC, to make sure that is clear, the distinction, because we do see a lot of it's getting momentum, the momentum that we don't want it to gain. Start out with that and go into asking them like what are their reflections on the negotiation in terms of Article 6 and loss and damage, and then giving our views on the topic. What we would like to see these countries do, and then have them reflect on it as well, and see what their thoughts are. So that's basically the one-on-one when it comes to the bilaterals. We try to keep it like 30 to 40 minutes in terms of time, because we want them to give them the instructions and then go as fast as possible to where they need to go to advocate for us on our behalf within their network of constituents, for example, or with other parties.
I know that Ronaldo has a very different style of bilaterals, and we'll talk about that later in this debrief. But I think the next natural topic, just looking at how the day progressed, is Santiago Network, which to me sounded like there was a lot of differences to the very end, but then it kind of
came together.
Right. And obviously, I think Ghazali was following this. I don't know if Ronaldo, you were following it, but let's start with Ghazali again. How this all kind of wrapped up in the end.
So the biggest problem with we did gain some traction with the Santiago Network. There was the one representative of IPOs was already in the institutional part of the Santiago Network. However, there's also other issues of Santiago that needed to be addressed. The big sticky issue was the reference to the Paris Agreement or the Convention, and you did see that a number of parties wanted to avoid it, and a number of parties wanted to work towards it. So you did see a lot of text, like in brackets, just to try to of text that wanted to approach it, to bring it in line with the Paris Agreement, in brackets, and just to make sure that we're not making that we're not taking a step backwards in terms of loss and damage. So throughout the week, actually, there was a lot of bracketing, discussing bilats, breakout groups, and and then at the final session today, there was this big huddle in the corner of the room.
Oh, so you were in the room when it happened?
Oh. Ronaldo was in the room as well.
Okay.
So Ronaldo, what did you experience when you were in the room?
My take is that I think a new momentum and a new allies for the indigenous peoples, considering some changes on the South American region that we have been seeing in the last months, and so all these years have been decisive on the change of politics in the region. And fortunately, we were there to discuss and interact with these new representatives. For example, in Colombia, has a new representative with a completely different line here. Peru also is defining that. Bolivia has a very clear support for us, but now we experience support from Africa, support for partners from the ILAC. It's a conglomerate of 8 countries, and 12 countries actually. And now tonight we have seen also the support from African parties that were not necessarily including the reference for indigenous peoples in their discourse, but at the same time they were very respectful of honoring the preamble of the Paris Agreement and to bring back the reference of indigenous peoples along with human rights. So I think this momentum also is consistent with what is happening at the CBD, with more support in more vocal support for indigenous peoples' rights, and I think it's a new momentum that brings good news for us that we waited for a long time. So hopefully some major operational advances come along with that, and tomorrow they will include some specific language about the promotion and protection, for example, of indigenous peoples along with human rights. So that's some good hopes that we still have.
So just to kind of go back to the Santiago, then, what's your overall assessment of the final outcome?
It could have been worse. The good thing is that we've been able to include that reflection, even though it's not like a direct quote of the Paris Preamble. There is it refers to the Paris Preamble, the 11th Preamble paragraph of Paris. Which includes human rights and the rights of indigenous people. So that is something that we can work for, we can appreciate, because it has it is overarching. So it has an effect on all the technical assistance of the Santiago Network. So not just the work of this advisory board. It has an overarching impact on the technical advice. So that is that is good, actually. Obviously, we want to have an explicit reference to the rights of indigenous peoples as included in the Paris Preamble, but I think we can swallow this. It's as long as there's a reference. It's in the operative, we're good. The other thing is, the technical assistance, country-driven, and then taking into account the needs of vulnerable people, indigenous peoples, and local communities. Before it was vulnerable peoples and local communities.
That was a pretty strange language to begin with.
Completely strange. My assessment is that it was actually more of an oversight issue than an active decision.
Right.
Because usually they don't mix, actually.
No.
Vulnerable people and local communities, like you never have those two together. So I think in favor of the pen holder and the parties, I think it's an oversight issue that could have been resolved easily. I think the dynamic in the room made it seem a little more challenging. But I think in the end, it was eventually resolved. It also showed a little bit the misunderstanding of some parties in relation to local communities and indigenous peoples, which is something that we as a caucus need to address.
Yeah, because I know that at one point it felt like there was more brackets being added. The countries are frustrated. They're adding more and more words into the document, and then an hour later, it's done. so there is a lot of, I don't know, miscommunication or something that was tactical, strategic. I have no idea, but something that we'll probably digest. Renato.
We actually had information from parties that were gathering actually to discuss the final details, that many parties were confused actually about the equivalency between local communities and indigenous peoples. And they were asking if they were the same and why they have to refer to indigenous peoples when local communities for them would suffice. So some parties that were our supporters actually made an intervention inside of that core group of parties and clarified that. And that presents us an opportunity to develop actually a little position paper about to clarify that, and that's what we expect to socialize soon, starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we have very clear and interesting support from Malawi, from Congo, from Mexico, Colombia, in Chile, right? And we're like nine or 10 countries that suddenly express pretty good support.
Yeah.
And so it's beautiful to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just move away from Santiago for the time being and focus a bit more on Article 6. I know that, Ghazali, you've been developing caucus position on Article 6.4. We've had it for almost 10 days, and now we're waited for text to come out for such a long time, and now we're seeing some of the reflections, some of that text reflecting the views of the parties and, of course, the views of indigenous peoples. So, first of all, what was your initial reaction when the text came out?
Actually, because you always prepare for the worst.
Right.
You know, like when you, I think from an indigenous people point of view, like we have a high ambition. So yeah, you aim high. So from our point of view, there were three major issues that we wanted to see happen with the recommendation of the supervisory body. One, that it would be sent back. Two, that they would be given sufficient time to reflect, to provide do a better job in a way. And the third is to provide high integrity work. So not just some raffle work, but actually like do something that is actually beneficial to human rights of indigenous peoples and environmental and integrity and safeguards. So those are the 3 points that you take on like a position paper, and you keep and you need to be disciplined into pushing that. There was always some kind of urge to change it. To like, we need to add something. We need to do that. To add some words. But consistency is key in all this. You have a message, stick with it. And it's about to pay off. The latest iteration came out around 4 p.m. Timeline is they have been given time until CMA 5, so that is UAE, the COP.
Yeah.
And paragraph 22 is interesting. You know that it provides the guidelines for the renewed work actually of the supervisory body, and it's actually a little bit more than I expected, because it's a whole list of things that they need to be taken into account, including human rights. So initially I was like, wow, that's good. And the text was clean. That's also super, very, very positive. But we also know that human rights is our individual rights. And the rights of indigenous people are collective rights. And they're very key in this. So one question that you have to ask yourself is, do you let the perfect be the enemy of the good? You have something, do you want to push it further? So you think about it, you consult a little with experts, and it actually makes more sense from an indigenous people point of view, also aligned with our position paper, the rights of indigenous peoples. So you put up messages, like small messages, add, for example, human rights adds the rights of indigenous peoples in paragraph 22. For the rest, everything else we can live with, and it's also most like political choices anyway.
Yeah.
Option A, option B.
Yeah.
Paragraph 7 so option 1, which includes the paragraph 31E of the Glasgow decision. China didn't want it in there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that those are things that
Yeah.
we hardly have any influence in.
Yeah.
But this, in terms of the overarching
Yeah.
principles, is something that we need to be pushing. So it's fairly optimistic based on the meeting that we just stepped out of right just now. Ronaldo did a very, very good job, doing his rounds.
Actually, I want to ask Ronaldo a question. You've been on the sideline of signals and looking at the whole landscape through what we communicate on chat, and you're probably sitting in Wisconsin or on a plane in Cairo for a couple of days, just eager to do
4
something.
days.
Eager to do something, right? So explain to me like how what you've been thinking about, like while you're making your way here and seeing what's going on at the COP. I mean, what was your thought? What was your thoughts?
My main challenge and my main goal is to keep up with you guys.
Yeah.
And to learn and contribute at all levels possible, and understand much more with what levels I can contribute and use the contacts that we were developing with some parties and both in CBD here to see what is possible.
Yeah.
What I noticed very interesting is in this discussion in 6.4 is that European Union, Bolivia, New Zealand, Canada, and now African nations are ratifying the human rights of indigenous peoples together. They have concerns on other parts of the paragraph 22 that will be a matter of their internal discussions. But the good coincidence on that is that all of them have coincided on the association between human rights and indigenous peoples as honoring the preamble paragraph of the Paris Agreement, which is a good outcome, right?
Yeah. Like in terms of actually lobbying, I know that a lot of indigenous peoples, even including myself, non-indigenous person, have trouble just having the courage to walk up to a party and actually, making not demands but like stating your desire, stating what you want, and a lot of people would wonder like where do you like let's put it this way, like how would you tell other people to have the same courage as you do? Like what would your advice be?
Well, I listened a lot, the input from other members of the Indigenous Caucus that were making huge emphasis on indigenous diplomacy. And the language that we present and the respect that we offer to members of the parties, the formal language, the formal approach that we have to them, the respect of their position as representative of parties. And based on that consideration, in a very kind and gentle way, respectful way, I think everything is possible. We are not confrontational, we are not protesting, we are not demanding, we are not pushing them to do anything. We let them do their review, but we highlight things that are important for us. And I think the courage comes from I think personally, in understanding of the things that other indigenous leaders in these two arenas were very kind to teach me about how to approach them and how to establish this process of diplomacy and the rules of that. So I would like to see the new generations and the people who come after us understand, especially the youth, understand the importance of this diplomacy, and that our caucus and our groups develop a formal program to develop these skills and to learn how to approach effectively parties. And I would like to serve on that process whenever it's possible.
It's certainly interesting thing for a lot of indigenous diplomats out there, and of course not just indigenous diplomats but also observers generally, on how to actually make your voices heard in a big platform like this.
What I would say, I say all the time, always to the parties that I think they appreciate a lot, is that I tell them we appreciate so much your support, no matter what. Even if they haven't expressed support, I I expressed how grateful we are for their potential, possible support in advance, upfront. And I established, for example, phrases like, we are interested, we like these suggestions from that party, but we leave it to your review, we leave it to your consideration. So we don't push, and they don't think that we're pushing them. And we establish this respectful consideration and say, and we appreciate and we are grateful for your support. That's all we can go for, and I think that encourages parties to think seriously about us.
Yeah. So basically, right now as it stands, paragraph 22 is clean, right? But perhaps if you're pushing it, or if the parties want to push it, then we're potentially opening up a little bit of what, of what is now a clean paragraph 22. So I guess my question is, what would your concern be? I mean, you always prepare for the worst, as you say. What could happen?
I think at this point, being so close to the finish line, that parties will be very careful.
Yeah.
They'll be very careful in terms of what they were suggesting it. If they're canvassing the room, whether there is an appetite to expand the language in a way that, for example, in paragraph 22, there is one proposal to reflect the 11th preamble paragraph of the Paris Agreement into the full breadth of 22. I think that would be a stretch. I think the inclusion of rights of Indigenous peoples is almost something I would take to the bank. It's like that's something that seems fairly certain. Ideally, have an action, so the promotion and protection of human rights and rights of Indigenous peoples. I think that would make it very clear. Been raised by New Zealand and echoed by Australia. So it's let's see what the bilateral conversation will look like. Say the deadline until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Will most likely another iteration and/or informal dialogue will appear, and then 12 there will be a final text. So I think that is what I expect. All in all, I think we almost like check. It's in terms of our objectives for COP, and the only thing that remains now is cover decision. I still haven't seen a text yet. Just
which gives us probably a very little time to react.
Absolutely. But we'll see what happens. At least we have we have many victories. Many victories. And this is one of them. Santiago is also one of them. We won't have monumental victories because we're not parties here.
No, that's right.
So there's always this concern. Like there's always this push from the caucus to go big. The problem is that you're not parties. You have to go through parties. So you have to, like you said, you have to deploy diplomacy. And try to, if you know you can't do it right now, then start setting the building blocks for the next time, so that you can get it the next time. And I think this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing over here. And I think, well, I'm flying out tomorrow night. So I think I can fly out with a happy feeling.
You can be confident that Renato will take you over.
Oh no, I would never.
I'll be confident that the caucus has something positive that they can report back to. To back home.
Well, I guess let's wait till 7 tomorrow morning to see.
It ain't over until the fat lady sings. Is the expression?
Based on what the parties showed me when I approached them, they are contesting other parts of the paragraph. Mostly the final paragraphs, or when they associated, while they are ratifying human rights in Indigenous peoples together, they have another list. For example, the ILAC group of Latin American, where lots of countries together, they have a long list that are gender-based, minority women rights, etc. And so it's a lot of text that probably will be removed, but I don't think that there is the will by any of the parties, because they had it that support us. They have clear that these human rights indigenous peoples are, no matter what, the most important addition, and I think they will focus on the last parts of the paragraph or things that are exceeding the too much. And I think we shouldn't accept that process. I don't think that, in my personal perception, I think with that it is enough, and I think that Bolivia has a good understanding, and ILAC probably now to add the protection and promotion into the human rights and indigenous people combination. So that will be a total victory, I would say.
Right.
Yeah. So I think we covered the ground.
Absolutely.
And very short final thoughts before we move on to dinner at 11.
Question? No. The final question always is, Ronaldo or Tomo, if there is a song that would cover actually today, what would that song be? What are your feelings or the outcome of it? Is it "We Are the Champions" or
no?
Is that
Not yet.
I see Jimmy Buffett. I see a shiny day. Remember that song? I see a clear.
I can see clearly now.
That one. I can see clearly now. Yes.
I can see Johnny Nash.
Johnny Nash.
I think I can.
Jimmy Cliff.
I don't think I can beat that one. I think that's a good one. Yeah. All right. So I think we'll call it a day. We have a dinner to go to.
Yes.
The good thing about Sharm is that the restaurants are open quite late, so we'll never be late. But thank you for tuning in. I know we're all tired, but I'm sure there'll be more update to come tomorrow. So
All right.
have a good evening.
See ya.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, 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 bright sunshiny day. Be a bright, 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 bright sunshiny day. Think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of those bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. Gonna be a bright, 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 bright sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 bright sunshiny day. But look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way.
My friends, I hope you enjoyed this. Please consider to subscribe, to comment, and to share this video on your socials.